Welcome to the Friendly Moms Club podcast with Jen and Karlee. We're the new mom friends you didn't know you needed.
We are creating a safe space to bring moms together, lighten the heaviness, and find joy in the everyday moments. Together, we will share our own experiences of being new moms while navigating the topics we wish more people talked about.
Join us every Monday to hear us skip the small talk and dive right into the uncomfortable.
This is our first episode, so bear with us as we figure out all the little, ins and outs and all the things that we need to do and to make us sound good, look good.
We look great.
Okay.
And based on these really expensive headphones we ordered off Amazon, we also sound great.
Yes.
But today's Mom Day. Happy
Mom Day.
Very exciting.
Yes.
As I said, we're mom friends. We're new mom friends.
Yeah.
And today we're going to actually talk about how to make mom friends. Because let me say, without mom friends, I would not look this good. That's for sure. No.
I'd be depressed in bed, probably.
Probably. Eating chocolate.
No idea what to do or how to parent my child.
Exactly.
And it's like one of those topics that you think would be simple. Like, oh, I already have friends. Like, why would I need new ones? But as we found out in the last 6 months, it is so important. And we are so excited to share with you guys, like, why we think this is so important and not just how to do it, but why it's important too.
Exactly. That's it.
So let's get into it.
Let's go. Roll in.
Okay. So how to make mom friends. First, we're going to talk about the why it's so important. And one of the biggest reasons why is we talk about shame and this shame that we have in motherhood, and it is so real. And it starts in pregnancy and it only gets worse, I think, in postpartum when you're trying to become a parent. Like it doesn't go away. And you keep thinking, oh, once I get to this point, it'll be better. Or once I get to this point, it'll be better. But it doesn't.
Or you feel like once I get to this point, I'll feel more secure. But the shame continues. Like society literally shames you for everything. Moms shame other moms, grandparents. They're the worst. Sorry.
Yeah.
Grandparents, we love you, but there's shame.
There is so much to it. It is, it's generational trauma packed in, and it is just, that's a whole nother episode. Yeah. But one of the quotes that I love that I have kind of reread over and over, there's actually two of them. One is by Anne Voskamp, and she basically says that shame dies when stories are told in safe places. So this idea that if you have these mom friends that you can talk about those things that you've kind of been keeping in and like, oh crap, is this my bad mom because I'm doing this? Like, are people going to make fun of me if they find out this is what I'm doing? Like, you have all these thoughts spiraling in your head. And so when you actually have a safe place, which in our mind is that like mom friend group of yours that you can find, it takes away the shame and you can just say these stories and it actually like you end up laughing about them and being like, I thought the same thing. And you'll just end up feeling so much lighter. Like actually a load is lifted off of your shoulders. Like you just feel lighter about it. And then there's Brené Brown, who I'm sure most of you have heard about. She is like a fantastic person and she's an author. She has a TED Talk. She has a podcast. She has books. She's a professor, if I didn't say it. Anyways, she said that what we don't need in the midst of struggle is shame for being human. And we are all human. We are all doing our best. And what we don't need when we're trying to figure out how to be parents and how to like be there for our kids in the best ways possible is shame for that. Like no one's purposely trying to do a bad job. No one is trying to ignore their child or let them get hurt and scratch their face or like, no, none of us want that. It's just, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. So I've kind of brought myself back to these quotes about shame and how we need to kind of do whatever we can to help get rid of that shame. And it's going to make our experience as new moms that much better.
Exactly. Moms are so scared to go out with their babies because it's like they don't want the world to know their babies are humans and that their babies have emotions and they have poop explosions and they cry and they scream. We cry. We don't scream. I scream sometimes. But like, why are we scared for other people to know we have emotions? And I don't mean that like judgmentally. Like, why are we scared? Like, we're scared because we get shamed and we feel embarrassed about the silliest little things that are not really that we shouldn't be embarrassed about them.
I'm terrified to go on an airplane because I feel like all those people are going to be looking at me and inevitably like my baby's going to cry. Like, how do you avoid that when you're on an airplane? Like with the change in pressure, like her little ears, I feel like are going to get hurt. Like, I think it makes sense that she's just going to be upset and she might cry at one point. Like, I think that's normal, but
I cry too.
I don't want all these people staring at me with their judgy eyes. Like,
she can't control her child.
Yeah. But this is the main point, is that when you have this safe place that you can talk about it, you can talk about things beforehand. Hey, like, you went on a flight recently, or one mom friend did. Like, what did you do? What helped? What didn't help? Like, did anyone actually do that? Because maybe I'm just making it up in my head. Like, maybe I have this expectation of people will shame me and they actually won't do that. Like, I might be making it out to be worse in my head. So being able to talk about these things is just a game changer. Like,
for sure. Stick together. Even if you are embarrassed about something. Like, one time we were out for a walk with a bunch of our mom friends, our local mom friends that we met in the last 6 months. And one of the babies had a massive poop explosion. And like, if I wasn't with a group of people I knew and it was me, I would probably not even be embarrassed that my baby pooped, but I'd be embarrassed, like, people are watching me, the way I'm changing, and maybe I'm not wiping correctly. But when you find your mom friends that, like, you click with, you jive with, and you like make this beautiful community of people who don't judge each other, then things like that are actually funny. And I was like, I helped a little bit, but I was also just back snapping photos. I'm like, this mom's gonna want this photo because look at her kicking butt. Cleaning poop, it was everywhere. It was like head to toe on the baby. It was all over her jacket, all over her stroller, and all the moms just came together and we all started wiping different things. And
we were just cleaning.
Yeah, we did good. And there was nothing to be embarrassed about. It was like, I thought it was funny, but
no, because it's gonna happen. It could happen literally to any of us on that walk. So if you can just be there for one another, it makes such a difference. It makes it so much more enjoyable.
Another good one was we have another friend who kind of part of our little tripod of mom friends. The three of us were out, I think it was our second walk, and we were kind of, just getting to know each other, but also from the beginning, all of us were just very much like, we have no boundaries. Let's talk about everything. But on this walk, we were talking about baby sleep and how noisy they are and how difficult it is to fall asleep with a baby next to you for many reasons. We were all saying like, oh, they're so noisy. And then our one friend, like, she kind of pauses and she wants to say something and she like seems really embarrassed. And then she finally says it. Well, I actually sleep with earplugs in. I was like, I sleep with headphones in. And Jen's like, I put the baby on my partner's side of the bed. We're all doing things that some people might judge us for that. And you know what? Who cares? She was so embarrassed to say this. And as soon as she said it, we're all like, no, dude, like, we're in the same boat.
We all do versions of the exact same thing.
No shame here.
But it's something that we all felt shame for before we actually said it out loud. Like, I was like, you get them like, oh, well, I just moved my baby. And like, I hadn't told anyone that. Like, I felt like a failure as a mom because I couldn't hack having my baby right beside me in my bedroom. Like, I felt like a failure. And so as soon as we started talking about this, we all just kind of laughed and we're like, okay, we all did the same thing. Maybe we shouldn't be as hard on ourselves. And it just literally, like I said before, that weight that gets lifted off your shoulders. And from then on out, like we've just said, everything that's popped in our mind, there's nothing that's off limits. Like this podcast, we want nothing to be off limits here. We just want to be able to talk and share and be open about all of the hard stuff, like, and things society doesn't really want us to be talking about or, like okay as a mom to do. Well, it is okay. And we're going to talk about those things. Like, really nothing hold back for us. Like, we can talk about anything, like vaginas, poop, nothing bothers us. Like, we have sent more pictures of poop between the three of us that is probably normal. But
baby poop. I mean, even if it was our poop, hey, I'd look at your poop. If you want to send me a picture of your poop, I'd look at it. I'd zoom in.
And like to clarify, she's a nurse. So it's a little bit more normal in that regard.
I love poop.
Yeah. But anyways, so that shame we just found was, I wouldn't say gone because can you ever really get rid of shame? No. But you can greatly reduce it so that it actually isn't that thing that's on your mind that's like going on repeat all throughout your day. It's just in the background now. Like it's just something that's way far off that unless I'm in like a dark place or I haven't really talked to them much lately and I've just been like at home with
just my baby
and she's been crying and I can't figure it out. And I'm like, then it kind of creeps up. And
that's when you text your mom friends.
Yes.
You say,
yeah,
hello, help me.
Sometimes we say, okay, we call it mom win of the day. MWOTD, I think. Like outfit of the day, but we did mom win of the day.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Because our outfits are not on point.
Yes. Pajamas. So we used to do that. So when we're having bad days, I think Karlee was the first one. She's like, okay, like let's be positive. So let's try to say something that's, we did good today. So instead of talking about the things we were embarrassed about or we felt shame for, we actually would end the day talking about something that like we did good today.
Exactly. And not like toxic positivity, like, ooh, everything's sunshine and rainbows. Like, no, we talk about like sometimes this shit sucks, but let's find something positive from what's happening, because there is always something positive, even if things suck.
Like, even if you just didn't cry when your baby cried during the day, like that is a win.
That's
like,
a win.
Pat
High
yourself
five.
on the back, because some days it is hard not to do that, right? So that could be a mom win.
Exactly. And some of our wins were like the silliest things. Like, well, they're not silly because they were wins, but like my baby slept in their crib for 30 minutes. That's a big freaking deal.
Yeah. And if you tell some people that like maybe don't have kids, they'll be like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
like,
hurrah.
slept in their crib. Isn't that what they're supposed to do?
Yeah.
And you're like, you don't get it. It is such a big deal. Like, I don't care if it's 30 minutes, like 1 minute in their crib is a big deal.
It is. Yeah.
And that's another reason why, like, we don't mean to say anything less to those friends that you have that don't have kids or that have kids at other ages. Like, those are still really important to have in your life.
Yeah,
your
they give
family,
you hand-me-downs. You need them.
Yeah. And like, we're not taking away from those people.
Yeah.
There's a place in your life for them. We just strongly feel like you need to go out and find those people who are actually in the same point.
Yeah, in the trenches with you. It's different.
When they're looking at you down from the other side of the trench, you're going to be a little mad at some point. You're going to be like, no, I need you down here. Like, it's just, there's
when
something
they're like,
about
we've made it. We're on the other side. And we're like, help us. We're still drowning.
Yeah, and you're just dragging yourself through the mud. Like, having someone there that you can laugh at things with, and you're both just covered in shit. Like, literal baby shit will be everywhere in the first little while. And you can just laugh at each other. Like, it makes things 10 times better.
We need hats that say, make shame funny again.
Yeah.
Because it is. Baby poop. Like, when is it not funny?
I know. Yeah, we just giggle like inappropriate little children. My husband and I will just like poop will get everywhere. And he got it on his face. Like, don't even ask me how. Like, it's not that hard, but
I think the only conversation that my husband Jeff and I have had today over text is sending poop pictures. He sent me one from this morning, and we talked about poops. We call them poonamis when they're like big explosions. And then he pooped again, and it's just keeps going. Rinse and repeat.
Yeah. It's going to be part of your life. So why not be able to talk about it? And it's not weird to do. I don't think it's normal. Like, you're going to want to Google colors of poop 10 times a day in the beginning. And like, oh, it changed this consistency. Like, is that okay? I don't know. And it's going to be normal. So normalize it. Talk about it. And boobs. You're going to talk about boobs so much. Boobs. Like, nipples and feeding and like changes in your areola. Like, things happen there that you don't know anything about. So having those mom friends that you're just like, hey,
tell me about your titties.
Like,
exactly.
Is it normal that this happened? Like, it makes a big difference.
It does. It helps. Makes you feel less alone.
Totally.
So we talked about why it's important to have mom friends and to make new mom friends who are going through the exact same life stage as you at that same time. So now let's talk about how to actually make mom friends. Let's first, you tell a story about how we met.
Okay. Well,
I got picked up.
I picked up Karlee outside a meeting, and it was like finding a boyfriend again. I felt very nervous. And so it turns out that we all went to the same like postpartum support group that is like wonderful, and every community should have one.
So
shout out
local,
to Belly's. Belly's,
community. What is it? Belly's Community Space?
Belly's Community Space or Center in Pitt Meadows. It is like great.
We'll put it in our description.
Yes. And that is how we met. So we were there, and our other mom friends, so the three of us all were kind of there. I was sitting across the room. I was like, I and a mom. I was like, oh, they look kind of cool. Like, maybe we could be friends.
They sound fun.
And it was a good like kind of way to know, like throughout the whole postpartum support group.
Yeah.
Karlee would like talk and bring things up, and our other mom friend. And I was like, hey, I kind of like them. Like, they were down to earth. They were just open, honest. Like, they just seemed like people I
was very sleep deprived. So I already have no filter. So like I had zero filter. So maybe that's what you liked about me.
I do like the no filter thing. But so I was lucky. My husband was off. So he had the baby. So I was the only mom in this support group that didn't actually have my baby with me. So I was just kind of like sitting in the corner.
I remember at the beginning, you were like, oh, I didn't bring my baby. She cries a lot. And I was like, good for you. I think I said to you, well, then you were like, I'm going to enjoy this hour without her. And I was like, you enjoy this hour. Like, I was like, yeah.
But I felt bad for not having my baby with me.
I was
like,
proud of you. I was like, this girl, she knows what's up.
So after the class is done, something came up about,
We're talking about tongue ties.
yes, like Karlee and our other mom friends, like their babies were getting tongue tie procedures done, revisions done.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like went over all
Snuck
nervous
over.
and I was like, are you guys talking about tongue ties? Oh, like where are you getting them done? My daughter just had one done. And so we ended up going into this like whole big conversation about tongue ties. I was like, oh, we just did it. The stretches are hard, but we went to this clinic and they're like, oh, we're using the same dentist. And so we had this whole big conversation about tongue ties. And I was kind of like, okay, how do I like offer that we should talk about it or meet up some more? Or like, hey, it kind of like was this thing that bonded us and got us to talk. So I didn't get the nerve yet. So we like we're walking out of the space down the stairs and I'm like, crap, we're gonna go to our cars. Like, how do I ask them out? How do I make them my friends? So we get to the parking lot and I can see like my husband's with my daughter in the car waiting to pick me up. And I just kind of was like, so do you think maybe you'd want to like hang out sometime or go for coffee with the kids? And like right away, both of their faces were like, yes. And I was like, oh, thank goodness.
Yeah. I think you asked, do you guys ever like hang out and go for coffee? And we're like, no, but we should.
Yes.
Because the other girl and I, we'd been chatting. We actually met online, which we'll talk about.
Yep.
And then that was the first time we ever met in person. So like, I didn't really know her. Like maybe it looked like we knew each other, but we didn't. We just met. This was the beginning of our little trio blossoming.
Yeah.
But I kept thinking like, oh, this girl's pretty cool. Like we should hang out. And then I was like, is it weird if I ask for her Facebook? Because that's how old I am. Facebook is still cool to me.
Yep.
And then you went there. You asked for my number. And fun fact, that was 5 months ago. You just got my number last week.
I know. We do everything on like social media and Facebook groups and anyways. So they accepted and we created, we were like, oh, how's the easiest way to do this? And Facebook groups, like maybe it makes us old, but it's so easy to use and to be able to do like video calls on like messages. You can add other people, you can make these groups. And so since we've met all these other moms, we've made all these other little groups. So we have too many Facebook groups now.
There's no such thing.
Okay, fine. There's a lot of them. But it's been so good to be able to have these little groups that you can talk about, send videos, send like funny pictures, poop pictures. Like it's yeah, it is
Spit
great.
up explosions.
So they said yes, and we right there on the spot, we're like adding each other, and we created this little group. And at first, I'm like, okay, like I wonder when are we actually going to meet up? Like, is it going to happen? Or
right away.
You know, like you kind of don't know when you ask someone on a date, like, what if you're going to catfish me or what are those
ghost you?
Yeah, I didn't know. So finally we're like, okay, whatever. See you later. I get in the car and Dad's like, did you make friends? And he was so proud of me. He's like, look at you putting yourself out there. And I'm lucky. He's a pretty supportive husband. So he was great. All like
10 out of 10 would recommend.
Yeah, great job, babe. And it's like, okay, we'll see what happens. And then I think it was that day. Like we talked all day. Like every day we ended up talking from then on out. And we haven't stopped. Every day we talk. Like we'll leave each other's houses. We'll be like, okay, talk to you in an hour because inevitably someone is going to message. Like, and it's about anything and everything. Like we talk about spouses because relationships are hard when you have babies, baby things, like physical things, food things.
Family
like we like to talk about food.
Love food.
And we like started going on walks and then, we met all these other moms and you can kind of say how we expanded from there.
Yeah. So there was another mom. I've just met a lot of people online, which my friend actually said to me, like a old friend was like, only you could make a friend on a Facebook group and start hanging out with them. And I was like, honestly, dude, it's not just me. I was like, moms, they want other moms. And when you put yourself out there, like they're eating it up. Like they want to make new friends. And not everybody is as bold and brave as Jen is. So not everybody is going to actually put themselves out there, but they're kicking themselves because they're like, that mom was cool. Or we had a kid the same age, or I liked her for this reason or that reason. And they didn't go out of the way to get a phone number or get their name on Facebook, become Facebook friends. But she was saying like, oh, only you. And I'm like, honestly, it's not just me. It's quite easy to make friends on Facebook groups. So that's the best way to start. If going out of the world into the world, meeting people in person is intimidating, hop onto Facebook, put in local mom. So like we live in Greater Vancouver. So if you just put in like local moms, Greater Vancouver, you can put the city you actually live in. And so many groups come up. There's pages for people who are already moms. There's people who are trying to get pregnant. There's pages for people who like due date groups. So I was, my baby was due in October 2022. So I'm in a due date group for Canada and all of, I think it's actually worldwide. Most of the people are from the States though. But I actually met another mom friend in like the local moms group. She was asking about delivering in different hospitals versus home birth. And since I work in labor and delivery in a hospital, I was like, hey, feel free to message me. We started chatting and then we found out our babies were due like 8 days apart. We both were a couple months apart. We're very close in age, very similar jobs. We both work long hours. And then we just started chatting and going from there. And now she's in our mom gang too.
She comes to our stroller fitness workouts, our mom walks that we do, a little mom gang that we have.
Yeah. And then another way that I made some mom friends on the internet was in this due date group. Somebody wrote, actually, no, it wasn't the due date group. It was like a Trying to Conceive Canada group. And this was before I was even pregnant. I'd been trying for maybe like 6 or 7 months at that point, kind of starting to get frustrated. And in that big group, somebody wrote, hey, like I'm looking to start like a smaller messenger group. If anybody wants to join, let me know. I'm going to limit it to like 10 or 15 people. And I was like, oh, like I want to be a part of that, but was kind of scared because I'm like, well, like I don't really know anything about getting pregnant. Clearly, I've never been pregnant and I'm still not pregnant, but I put my name out there. I was like, me, please. And I joined the group. And to this day, I think that must have been started like September 2021. And to this day, I still chat with these girls all the time. There's about 10 or 11 of us all across Canada. There's one girl that actually lives about 5 minutes from me here. And we've started meeting up in person. She started coming to these walks with all of us. Yep. And we talked on the internet for like a year and a half and then finally met in person. And it was like I've known her my whole life. And it was so great. And, you know, like a lot of these people you meet might not be people that you see or talk to every day, but they're people that you can lean on when things get hard. And now
postpartum is hard. This is one of those times you lean on everybody because you need all that support.
You need them. Yeah.
And like, I mean, she's lovely.
Very lovely.
But it's someone that you had a connection with that you never actually had to leave your house. So like,
exactly.
You talk to all the time. It's because you put yourself out there. And she did too, wanting to be a part of this group and messaging. And especially when you haven't met in person, like it's a little bit harder, I think, to know like, do we click? Like, like, is this, you know, are we both thinking the same things? Like date 2 and not date 2? So but it's still putting yourself out there. It's still a very good first step.
And it's an easier step because you can hide behind your computer. And if you get rejected, if you send somebody a message and say, hey, let's chat, or if like you just kind of start chatting and they're not really into it, they're not replying, then okay, you take the hint and you go to creep the next person and get them to chat with you.
Because you don't have to just do this postpartum. Like we talk a lot about postpartum because I think that's where you get the most like bang for your buck. Like that's when it really, really makes a difference. But I went to the same like community support group when I was pregnant too, near the end because I had a terrible pregnancy. But when I finally first went out there, I was just exhausted. And so making friends wasn't really high on my list, but I kind of saw the same moms and the thoughts kept going through my mind. It's like, oh, it'd be nice to talk to these moms. Like we're all kind of, our bellies are the same size. Like, you know, maybe we're due around the same and we're all here like looking for support. So maybe they'd want to be friends. And so it took me a while to put myself out there. I'm not saying it's easy. Like you're going to go out there and you are going to make friends right away. And sometimes it's going to take a little while, but there's so many different places. So if you want to go out, so as opposed to, you know, online is kind of step 1, it's a good option. It's a little bit, it's still not easy, but it's easier than actually getting outside the house. But there's these community spaces that have support groups. There's like prenatal yoga. Then there's postpartum, like baby and me yogas that you can go to. Stroller fitness classes, swimming lessons, library classes. We found a really cool free library class that's in our community that we have found so many moms now. And now after a library class, so it's a half an hour class, then we just invite everyone that we know, like, hey, do you guys want to go for a walk? And we ended up walking now after every library class and we've made mom friends that way. Like, and it was
definitely. And we've actually connected the Facebook groups to the library time.
Yeah.
So people have written in the local Facebook group, like, hey, like I'm so-and-so, my baby's this old. These are the things I'd like. If it sounds like, you know, someone you want to hang out with, let me know. And everyone's writing like, go to baby time at the library, go to baby time at the library. And there's been a few people that I've been like, hey, come to baby time and come for a walk with us after. Yep. And now they do that every week and they're great people and wonderful. I think every local community at their library
Yeah.
Most libraries have like a publicly funded baby time or story time, baby hour, and they're free. Most of the time you don't have to sign up for them. And it's all moms and dads and parents, local and going through the same thing as you. And it's nice there because like sometimes you get to see people who have like 2 kids and you get to see the older kid and you're like, oh, this is my future.
Yes.
Or you're like, oh shit, this is my future.
We went one mom friend and I was like, how old is your other kid? And they're like, I don't know.
I think they were 18 months apart.
Maybe even less than that. We were like, tell me your secret. Was it worth it? Was it not good? And like, but her other child is the same age, right? Like it's just really, and you don't have to make friends right away. Like you can kind of sit and watch the first couple times but it's still really fun for you and your baby to go to. So you kind of get to like, test the waters at first. So there's all these different support groups and just groups, like community groups. So you got to get on Google, see what's in your community. And really, when you are in the throes of it, like when you are really in the beginning postpartum, like a little rejection isn't going to add much. Like you are already just struggling to keep going. So if you put yourself out there and no one responds back, like you got to keep going. And it was another friend of ours that just wrote on, she made an Instagram post about it and it actually made me like I felt bad, but I didn't know her at the time. But I guess she wrote on social media, like she was really trying to find these mom friends. And so she put herself out there and said, hey, I'm going to be at this place, this date and time, like to go for a walk. Does any other moms want to come and meet me? And she just kind of like put it out there. And so she ended up telling her sister about it. So her sister was going to come because she's like, what if no one shows up? And so her sister, like, which is great, came. And so they met at this day and time there and no one else showed up. And that's gotta suck. Like when you put yourself out there and then to have kind of no one respond it's not fun.
It's hard.
But she just like picked herself up, was like, cool, walked with her sister, and then she did it again. And I went to the next one and there was a group of, I think like 10 or 12 of us that all met up and it was awesome. And she's since done it, I think 3 more times. So the first one wasn't a success, but you know what? Now she has this group of people that all go for her monthly walks that she sets up and show us like bakes little treats. And it is amazing. I mean, you don't have to go that far. She's just a overachiever, but
you also like, don't even have to be the person to host these events.
Yes.
You can also just look for them on the internet. If you go on Instagram, if you go on Facebook and you look up like hashtag local walk, local moms, mama walk, if you go, you can find them. Find the people who are willing to do the work and you just tag along.
Get really good at stalking people on Facebook and Instagram, social media. But like, we've just met all these really cool moms that have all put themselves out there in all these different ways. And I've never met a mom that didn't want to have mom friends.
Exactly. Yeah. And they're not people that, you know, like we became friends and now we're starting this podcast together. Like that's one direction. But when you meet people, you don't have to be their friend forever. And that doesn't have to be somebody that you have absolutely everything in common with. It can be just somebody that helps you get through that first year, those first 6 months, somebody that has one thing in common, and that's having a baby around the same age. And even if you don't have a million things in common, that's okay. As long as you feel safe around that person and you enjoy spending time with them, then that's great. And if you don't, then ghost them. Don't do that. But
yes, don't listen to Karlee.
Listen to all my other advice, but not that advice. But they don't have to be people you're going to be friends with for the rest of your life. Sometimes you just, you know, it's very normal to go in and out of friendships and kind of have the ones that you have forever and then ones that, you know, are just based on the phase you're going through in your life. And maybe that's some of your mom friends. And maybe you're stuck with me. But maybe you meet ones and you do form a lifelong friendship and that's amazing. Or they're just somebody that helps you get through a couple months of hard times. And that's okay too.
There's different seasons of life. And that's why we're saying, you know, don't ditch your other friends. They are also very important. It's just, even if you find one mom friend that you feel safe with, that you can let go of that shame, you can have your safe place. It is going to make a difference. And I cannot stress enough how important it is. And it was actually my therapist was the first one that told me, like, you need to make mom friends. I was kind of like, this isn't why I'm in therapy. Like, why are we talking about this? She's like, it is important. And she's like, even if you only meet up every month, like once a month, she's like, it makes a difference. And so she kind of planted that little nugget in my head. And it was there for a while. And then I met her again and she's like, so have you made any mom friends yet? I was like, no, like, wow, you're really harping on this.
Should send her this video.
And I was like, no, I haven't made any mom friends yet. And she's like, I really think you'd benefit from it. Like everyone would, but I think you would you would like that. And it was actually turned out that I had therapy on the Thursday and Friday was the support group. So I had just had it in my mind, like,
Nice.
my doctor keeps telling me I need to do this. Like, so it kind of gave me that nugget of courage that I needed to put myself out there. And that's really what we hope this video is for you. Like, we hope it gives you that little bit of strength and courage to be like, hey, like, I'm going to go join a Facebook group. I'm going to like write if anyone wants to meet up. And sometimes it's going to work out and sometimes it's not. But we are proud of you for putting yourself out there because it's not easy.
No, it's uncomfortable.
It's definitely
It's like middle school all over again, but instead of regular middle school acne, it's postpartum acne. Yeah. Your breasts have developed in a different way.
Yes, but it is so important. So we are proud of you. Like, just for listening today, for being interested in how to make mom friends, like that's already the first step. So we are so proud of you for that.
High five.
Yeah. And we want to be there for you. So if you ever have any questions, like, you're like, oh, hey, how did you do this? Or what groups did you find? Or anything like that, like send us a message because we want to hear from you. We want to be those mom friends. Like, we want to talk to you and, you know, share our wisdom that we've now gained in our
We're very wise
6 months of having babies. But we have learned a lot and kind of like the hard way. So if we can share and help make your journey even a little bit better or make you feel less shame about some of the things that you're kind of going through in your head that you feel like you're a bad mom or parent because of, like, I guarantee you you're not.
You're not.
And it's just you being really hard on yourself.
Yeah, and don't Google in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
That'll make you feel worse. And if you need tips on pickup lines, we got Jen here. She'll connect you.
Local pickup artist.
You are a pickup artist. So the main thing we're trying to say as well is, like, be that mom that steps out of their comfort zone and puts himself out there, because sometimes the other mom is wanting to do that and maybe they're just not there yet. They haven't found our video.
Yes.
So they don't know how to ask out other moms and parents. So if you're feeling like you want to, just go for it. And likely the other person is going to be into it. And also they were probably trying to think of a way to do the exact same thing. Yeah. And if not, well, you're probably going to cry that day anyways. So.
And okay, there was another one that we found. So since we've kind of created all these groups and we post, like, we're pretty open about everything. Like, hey, we're going for a walk this day. Anyone want to come? Like, I'll post it to Instagram, like in Facebook. We'll kind of leave it open-ended. So if anyone does want to come, they can. And the amount of messages that Karlee and I have both gotten separately, like, wow, like, how are you meeting these people? Like, where is this class? Like, where did you find this? And we always just share it and be like, yeah, come. And like, so random people from our kind of our past, like high school or that we knew from someone that my brother played hockey with their now husband. And like, so they're messaging me and it's kind of like really random acquaintances, but now you're at the same part of life again and they have a baby. So why not reach out and be like, hey, do you want to go for coffee one time? Like,
definitely. There's a lot of people in your life that maybe you were friends with in middle school or you worked together and maybe you didn't have a ton in common then, but you know, you liked each other, but not enough to kind of continue being close friends. And then you see, oh, we're both due in January 2023, and reach out to them because now you have something in common and you already know them. So it kind of takes that pressure off and that discomfort away when you already know somebody, and then you can get out and reconnect.
Totally. And you're all going to be off. Like, you're all off work. You have a lot of time. Like, and when you sit at home with a baby, they're long days. So if you can get out and just meet for walks, meet for coffee, like it's so good for your mental health, physical health. Like, there's just so many benefits. So put yourself out there. If someone messages you, like, they message you, that's a huge step for them. So maybe you can take the next step and be like, hey, let's meet up. So, because if they're asking questions about a group you went to or how you found something, like, chances are they also want to have those interactions. They want to have those friendships in groups and
they want to get out of the house,
right? They do want to get out of the house. So put yourself out there, like, invite them, right? Kind of take the next step, a little give and take.
So if you're local to us and you want to come join us, then send us a message. We'll give you some details about some of the walks and some of the events that we go to. Yeah. And if you're not, then join those Facebook groups, get out there, slide into the DMs of those old acquaintances. Yeah. Yeah. Look up.
Slide in there.
Yeah. Do slide. Very lubricated slide there you had. Search on Google.
Important postcard.
Yes. Lubricant. Very important. That'll come up in one of our other
episodes.
Videos. Yes. A little bit later. But yeah, Google mom and baby yoga, swimming lessons, library classes, specific postpartum support groups. Put yourself out there. Yeah.
We believe in you.
I believe in you. And you know what? If you don't make any real life mom friends, we can be your mom friends.
Yeah, we're always here for you.
Yes, we are. So yeah, that was our first episode. Hopefully we didn't embarrass ourselves.
Yeah. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully it gave you that little bit of a push to put yourself out there and just try.
Yeah. It's important to have mom friends. I want to say, once you put yourself out there, pretty easy to make mom friends. The hard part is putting yourself out there.
Yes.
That's the scary part.
Yep. The first step's always the hardest.
Yeah, but it feels good. Feels good once you get out there and you start connecting with people in your community. Gets you out of the house. Gets you physical. Go for walks. Do some activities. Drink wine together.
Yes, mimosas is actually our thing. We've drinking mimosas on a few occasions.
I think you mean mimosas.
Oh, mimosas. Oh, I like that.
Yes. Speaking of moms.
Yeah, speaking of moms.
One thing we're going to conclude every episode with is what we're going to call a Mom Day mantra, because today's Mom Day, Monday, but we're going to call it Mom Day.
Mom Day, a little special twist there.
So for today's Mom Day, do you want to drum roll? Do you want to be our first Mom Day mantra?
Oh, no, you do it.
Okay. So just in light of everything we're talking about today, our mantra is the friendships you need are right outside your comfort zone. Comfort zone. Friendship. Right there.
It's right there. It's right literally there. just that little step. It's so close.
That's me fishing for friendships.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
All right.
So you are new here because we're the new guys.
Yep.
So if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. If you're listening in podcast, then subscribe, leave us a review.
Yeah.
It's going to help other moms find us, help other moms make mom friends. So that can be your first step today.
Yes, that is a good first step. If we can challenge you to anything, do that. Like share it with another friend and be like, that could be your subtle way of being like, let's be mom friends. Listen to this. Oh,
that's good.
Right? Like,
yeah. Slide into DMs with this video.
So instead of like inappropriate pictures, you send a podcast now. That's a new thing to be friends. So give it a try. Let us know if you have any comments, any questions, things you want us to talk about. Something maybe you have a question for, but you're too embarrassed or you don't feel comfortable asking someone else.
We'll embarrass ourselves for
Pregnancy,
you.
postpartum, parenthood. We're here for it. So just let us know. Nothing is off limits.
All right.
Send us a message.
Thanks for listening to the Friendly Moms Club podcast.
See you next Monday.
See you next Mom Day.